In 2018, it was the National People's Party that managed to stitch up a coalition with smaller parties as well as the BJP. This is despite the fact that the Congress had actually emerged as a single largest party, and it had gotten 21 seats. But the NPP was able to form the government, and Conrad Sangma became the chief minister of Meghalaya. So this election, a lot of things have changed because while the NPP is still, trying to keep power, and they are seeking a re-election, and so are the BJP and the Congress. But perhaps the biggest change this time is the entry of the Trinamool Congress, because this is a party which had no, footprint in the state at all. But in November 2021. 12 of the Congress legislators, and back then Congress was the principal opposition. So 12 of the Congress legislators, led by Mukul Sangma, they jumped ship to the TMC. And in a very dramatic manner, the TMC became the principal opposition overnight in Meghalaya, and Congress was just completely decimated and out of the picture. So this election, TMC, with the backing of Dr. Mukul Sangma, who's also the former chief minister, they seem to be, the biggest challenger to the NPP ahead of the elections. Meghalaya has always had, a plethora of regional parties, and the biggest one of them would be the United Democratic Party, or the UDP. They were also part of the NPP-led coalition in the last 5 years. Apart from that, there's a new party called the Voice of People Party. Then there's the Hill State Democratic Party. So there are a number of smaller parties. Now, these parties usually, they're not strong enough to form the government on their own, but they are important because they end up, becoming kingmakers and helping the bigger parties to form the government. So that is why they are important. Apart from that, there are also, there's like, this new political platform. They're not a party, but it's a platform called the CUM. And these are basically 3 activists and community workers who have come together, and they are also contesting the elections in 3 key constituencies in Shillong. So yeah, a number of parties in the fray this election. So, there are a few promises and issues which all parties have sort of addressed in the manifesto. One is, of course, coal mining. Everyone said that they're going to check illegal coal mining. They're going to make sure scientific mining, there's a scientific mining in place if they're voted to power. Almost all parties have said that, including the NPP, the BJP, the Congress, the TMC. Everyone's promised to sort of, work towards resolving the border issue with Assam, which has been festering over years. The BJP has, also said that they're going to be looking at making Meghalaya a corruption-free state. They have promised that they're going to make some sort of anti-corruption task force, because, corruption is one of the main issues this elections, considering the fact that the NPP is facing a lot of allegations about rampant corruption in the last 5 years. Apart from that, of course, all the parties have, promised cash assistance schemes and all of that. The Trinamool has promised like 2 youth and women-oriented cash schemes. Then the Congress has also put out 5 promises to make it a 5-star Meghalaya. So yeah, everyone's, and also one more thing I forgot to mention, the ILP also features, the inner line permit also features among the promises of many political parties. So it's not surprising that the BJP and NPP are contesting separately. They were allies, but usually the NPP usually contests elections solo. So that is not surprising. But I'd say what is surprising is the kind of aggressive campaign the BJP has sort of led in Meghalaya. So when last election, the BJP got 2 seats, but this election, they are hoping to improve their tally because, most BJP leaders in Meghalaya say that the BJP's acceptance in the last 5 years has sort of increased in Meghalaya. So Meghalaya is a tribal Christian majority state, right? And BJP has also has had to long contend with the image that it is anti-Christian. So, but now the BJP is saying that this fear has sort of, over the years, they've been sort of been able to assuage people and tell them that, they are not anti-Christian, number one. And the fact that the BJP also, has a lot of, the BJP is in power at the center, right? So it has also a lot of like development and welfare schemes which have reached people of Meghalaya. So the BJP argues that people now trust the people in Meghalaya trust the BJP more. So if you look at it in a state like Meghalaya, which is remote, which is had a long, complicated history, marked by insurgency, conflict, and all of that, it has not developed at par with the rest of the country, right? So for them, development, better quality of life becomes important to voters in Meghalaya. So the BJP argues that many voters see that voting for the BJP, which is also at par in the center, will help which will help Meghalaya, especially with development schemes, with money and things like that. The BJP is also, the campaign has been very, they've been very openly, let's say, antagonistic to the NPP. They've, openly criticized their former allies, corruption charge. They've openly criticized the NPP for, the corruption it has engaged in. It has also recently, there was a bit of a controversy because Prime Minister Modi is supposed to address a rally in Garo Hills, and the NPP-led government basically denied permission for him to, host a rally in one particular stadium. So it's very evident that the alliance has been very frosty, and of course now they're contesting separately, and I mean they're going sort of all out to put each other down. But having said all of that, you must also remember that Meghalaya is a state which usually throws up a fractured mandate. And, it won't be surprising to see all these parties which are currently at each other's throats and criticizing each other in every second rally. It won't be surprising if they end up partnering with each other. So, at the end of the day, all parties sort of need each other. So whatever they say in the run-up to the polls is not, that important. Many say in Meghalaya, like the real election happens after the results are declared, because after the results are declared, there'll be a lot of poaching of MLAs, and you don't know which party will ultimately partner with which party. So anything you can't really predict, and anything happens in a Meghalaya election is what is usually said. So the TMC is, even if it's the principal opposition, it's still a brand new party in Meghalaya. It is a party which has had no electoral base. No one knows the TMC in Meghalaya up until it suddenly became the principal opposition 2 years back. So the TMC is banking a lot on the popularity of Dr. Mukul Sangma. He is a former chief minister. He's also, a stalwart in the region's politics. So a lot of TMC's campaign is solely based on Mukul Sangma. But apart from that, the TMC has invested and pumped into a lot of resources in this campaign. For example, they are consulting the IPAC as its poll strategist, right? So IPAC members have been camping in Meghalaya for the last few months. They've been on the ground. They've been, going to, people going to all different voters and constituencies to sort of make people aware of the fact that TMC is a new party, that it's been in Bengal for many years, and also drive away apprehensions that, that this is a Bengali party. So the TMC is really trying to work hard on the ground, but ultimately, from my experience from reporting in these constituencies over the last few weeks, from my experience, I feel that beyond the popularity of Mukul Sangma, the party doesn't have much else to bank on, because, as I said earlier, in Meghalaya, politics, especially electoral politics, is driven a lot by not by the party but by the candidate. It's a very personality-driven kind of electoral politics. So the TMC is campaigning hard, but much of it is dependent on the popularity of Dr. Mukul Sangma. So the Congress is completely decimated. It's beleaguered because a lot of people have left one after the other, and it's going into the elections with 0 sitting MLAs. It is now, I mean, 2 months back, it was at a phase where it did not have many people to field, even in all the constituencies. But they've sort of, tried to make the most of it. And now they fielded candidates in all 60 seats, but almost all of them are fresh faces and first time candidates. So there are a lot of young people. In fact, 47 of the 60 candidates are below 45 years of age. There are IIT and IIM graduates. There are young professionals. So it's going into the whole electoral scene with young, new, fresh faces, while others are saying that this is going to be a big challenge because these people are first timers, they are greenhorns. The Congress thinks that this is going to be a opportunity for them because these are fresh faces, and fresh faces don't have the baggage of corruptions like the other leaders do. So that is currently where the Congress is at with its campaign. So the NPP, as I said, came to power, by stitching up a coalition, and it's been a very difficult 5 years for them because there's been multiple law and order problems. There have been, what I spoke about earlier, there has been border conflict which has flared up. Then there is also rampant corruption charges against them. So it's been a very difficult 5 years for them, and they are, of course, I mean, they have the advantage because they are, currently in power. But, it's just that everywhere you go, everyone talks about the fact that, there has been very little development in the last 5 years, and that most of the NPP leaders have been engaged in a lot of scams. So they are battling all these allegations as they go into the elections, on February 27th. So it is kind of an uphill task for them, and especially with, all these parties like the BJP, the TMC also are sort of, upping their game and really investing a lot in their campaigns. But ultimately, one thing which sort of gives them an advantage is that now the opposition is fragmented. Earlier, when Mukul Sangma was with the Congress, there was a united opposition. But now he has broken away from the Congress. He's gone to the TMC. So the votes are getting divided. So that is probably one advantage for the NPP. But having said that, it's still quite an uphill battle for them. I think ultimately it really depends on whether it is a hung mandate. And usually in Meghalaya, going by previous elections, it's usually a fractured mandate. So ultimately it will depend on which party sort of, ally with the other, and, what equation or what settlement they come to. So, you really can't predict. It really doesn't matter who is at what place right now. Only on March 2nd, when the results come out, and, when parties sort of discuss and make their strategies, it really depends on that ultimately.